Glacial Oris, this is Glacial here.
And I'm Aura.
Welcome to the first edition of Glacial Auracast. Today we'll be covering all of Ash Ketchum's Pokemon from the anime and ranking them from worst to best. This will be a long one, so sit tight, grab a snack, and enjoy.
We'll be rating them according to win-loss records in major matches and overall consistency.
Number 1. Raticate. Now, many of you may have forgotten that Ash even had a Raticate, and I don't blame you. He literally had it for less than an episode, in episode 15 of the original series. Ash traded his Butterfree for a Raticate, battled with it once, and then traded it back. It had some potential, but he barely had it.
Number 2. Beedrill. Ash got Beedrill during the JoJo saga, and within the same episode he gave it away to Casey after winning the bug catching contest, even though the winner is allowed to keep the Pokemon they caught, due to the fact that Casey loved yellow and black striped Pokemon so much. Ash, being Ash, gave Beedrill to Casey.
Number 3. Torkoal. Now, Torkoal is probably considered to be one of Ash's weakest Pokemon, despite not being released or traded away. It really didn't win that often. Honestly, it just cried a lot. In its debut episode, it struggled to beat a Steelix, which has a clear disadvantage against a fire type like Torkoal. And the first big battle that it won was against Norman's Slakoth, but then it lost to its Vigoroth in one hit. Torkoal was a bit useful in the Evergrande Conference when it tied against the Tropius, but come on, Tropius is a grass type. Against Ash's rival Morrison, Torkoal lost to another Steelix, which is insane. And against Tyson, who ended up winning the Evergrande Conference, it beat a Shiftry but lost to a Hariyama. Its most intense battle was against Brandon's Registeel, but obviously it lost that battle too. And Torkoal came back in the Gen 4 anime, Diamond and Pearl, only to lose to Tobias's Darkrai in one shot.
Number 4. Pidgeot. Ash caught Pidgeotto in the third episode in the anime, but despite Pidgeotto being a decent enough Pokemon and Pidgeot being a really good one, it never won a single battle. Like, what?
Number 5. Lapras. Ash initially caught Lapras after he got separated from its family, and so that he could have a mode of transportation across the many Orange League islands. Ash ended up using Lapras to win a wave ride race for his Orange League badge against a Blastoise. Lapras lost in the second gym to a Nidoqueen, and during the final battle against Drake, Lapras tied with Drake's Gengar. It had a lot of potential, but Ash decided to release Lapras so he could join back up with its family.
Number 6. Kingler. Ash himself, as a human, battled Krabby, not with Pokemon, and caught it. Like, bruh. Anyways, Kingler is ranked so low due to its low battle experience. It only battled twice. It beat all 3 Pokemon in its battle debut. It evolved and even beat 2 more Pokemon, but fell to the third being an Arcanine. And its promise ends there. Never again. No more battles from Kingler. Who knows? It might come back in Journeys.
Number 7. Primeape. We all know that technically Primeape is still Ash's Pokemon, and certainly should be higher on this list, but seriously, it seems like the writers of the show gave Ash a powerful Pokemon just to win him a fighting tournament, and then give them an excuse to get rid of it. And the worst part is, Primeape is the only Pokemon that Ash has in training that has yet to come back on the show. So yeah, that's why Primeape is so low on this list.
Number 8. Mr. Mime. Okay, hear me out. Mr. Mime was originally caught by Ash in episode 64 of the original series, but didn't make its battle debut until Journeys, and only battled 3 times, and lost once. So it's great, but not great at battling.
Number 9, Butterfree. Ash's first capture is the iconic Butterfree. It fully evolved from Caterpie to Butterfree within 2 episodes. As a Caterpie, it was used to try and help catch Pidgeotto, but obviously it lost pretty badly. And Metapod wasn't very useful, since it only had basic moves. Butterfree was used against Misty, but after a tough battle with Misty's Staryu, it ultimately lost. And Butterfree then lost to a Sandshrew and a Tentacruel later in the series, but shortly after that, it was released.
Number 10, Scraggy. Ash originally caught Scraggy as an egg, and after a few episodes, it hatched, but it didn't perform as well as it could have. With this moveset, it had an entire arc about making an inaccurate move inaccurate, but it paid off, but not enough to make it higher on this list.
Number 11, Oshawott. Yeah, well, the Unova starters were honestly the worst starters that Ash ever had, and Oshawott was the worst of them. Oshawott was used to beat Silence Pansage, which seems ridiculous, but when you think about Ash, it's pretty normal for him to do. And Oshawott did win against Pansage. And then Oshawott lost to Trip's Tranquil and Lenora's Watchhog. And the worst part was it was revealed that Oshawott couldn't see under the water when using Aqua Jet. Seriously? Oshawott is a water type that can't see underwater. Like, how ridiculous is that? And during the rematch against Lenora, Oshawott lost to Watchhog again. So all that training was worthless. Oshawott continued its losing streak against a wild Simisear, which is a fire type. And Oshawott didn't win its next match until it beat Stefan's Blitzel. It also had a major victory against Clay's Krokorok. But Ash wouldn't use Oshawott in a major battle until the Unova League against Cameron's Hydreigon, which was a bit of an even matchup, but Hydreigon was so overpowered and it won. So overall, Oshawott had a couple of major wins, but most of its battles were losses.
Number 12, Totodile. A great happy-go-lucky kind of Pokemon that we all love, but not as much battle prowess compared to its dancing prowess. I mean, come on, have you seen this thing do the happy dance?
Number 13, Palpitoad. So this is what happens when one has 10 Pokemon. Palpitoad may have been Ash's 8th member, but Palpitoad also had a record low appearances of 9. Palpitoad lost to Ash's Oshawott, which is how it got caught, but it was pretty clutch during the Nimbasa Town Club Battle Tournament, beating Burgundy's Stoutland and Dino's Darumaka. Oh, what am I talking about? Both of these opponents are super weak. But Dino was the runner-up of the Virtuous Conference, but that was like later in the series, so we can just put it up to that. And Palpitoad did beat his Darumaka, which is... he should have won that, and he did. Palpitoad was also meant to be Ash's sole strategy against Elisa and her electric-type Pokemon. And you would think so, it is a ground type, but it lost to her Emolga. Palpitoad was then used against Roxy's Garbodor, and it got poisoned and lost. And Palpitoad was used against Stefan's Zebstrika in the 3rd round of the Virtuous Conference, but it tied. So really, Palpitoad didn't live up to its actual abilities.
Number 14, Donphan. In a similar fashion to Scraggy, Ash originally got this as an egg, but within 2 episodes, he was a Phanpy. It wasn't really on the team for a majority of the time, until it came back in the advanced generation to evolve into Donphan. But it didn't get enough spotlight as Donphan, otherwise it would have been higher on the list.
Number 15, Muck. Muck wasn't really used until Ash's battle against Jeanette Fisher in the Indigo League 4th battle, and her extremely high-level Bellsprout. For some context, Bellsprout had already beaten Ash's Bulbasaur and Ash's Pikachu, but the reason that Muck was able to beat Bellsprout because he was able to absorb all of Bellsprout's attacks and then hit it with a body slam. Muck only really battled in one other major battle, which was against Gary's Blastoise and Scizor. But it wasn't really able to handle either one, and it lost to Scizor. Muck is rarely used and is more of comic relief when it piles on top of Professor Oak, but is still able to better compete with its opponents.
Number 16. All 30 Tauros. Yeah, we're putting all of them on the list, even though it's confirmed that only one of them was used. But Ash caught 30 Tauros in the 35th episode with the help of Brock of the anime, which was banned. Which is why a lot of you might not remember Ash catching them. But I know you memers are out there. I know you've seen them. But he only primarily used one. So, and we didn't want to give them different entries, so one is held back by the rest, I guess.
Number 17, Aipom. Since Aipom was caught so late in the Advanced Generation series, Aipom didn't really battle much until Sinnoh. And Aipom was extremely clutch early when it helped Ash catch Starly and rescued Pikachu, as well as beating Paul's Chimchar. Aipom was able to beat Rourke's Geodude in the first gym battle, but lost to his Rampardos. And Aipom was also able to earn Ash the Forest Badge by beating Eterna's Roserade. But since Aipom was more interested in contests, it was traded for Dawn's Buizel.
Number 18. Unpheasant. Ash caught his Unpheasant as a Pedo, then evolved during the Castelia arc, finding tons of Venipede. And when I say tons, I mean tons. Then evolved during Skylar's gym battle again, which was BS because he wasn't even allowed to use it in the beginning because of her type advantage rule. But it didn't receive much more spotlight after that. It was held back by the sheer amount of Pokemon Ash had and in the universe, and he used all of them about the same, except for Pikachu and like Crocodile towards the end.
Number 19, Boldore. This is the first of my entries to have evolved after capture. Ash originally caught Boldore as a Roggenrola and was his 9th Pokemon of his Unova team. Roggenrola's first major battle was in the gym battle against Clay and his Excadrill, and thanks to its ability Sturdy, Roggenrola was able to endure Excadrill's Horn Drill, which also led to its evolution into Boldore. Boldore ultimately won the battle for Ash with a Rock Blast and Rock Smash combo. Boldore's other major battles were against Roxy's Coughing, Geraldo's Reuniclus, and Cameron's Hydreigon. It lost to Coughing and Hydreigon, but it was able to beat Reuniclus. It was used more than some of Ash's other Pokemon, which also puts it higher on the list, but its win-loss record still isn't that great.
Number 20. Corphish. Corphish was at best comedic relief. It didn't have too many battles, and I always really always really trolled everyone else by chucking them into another dimension. Oh no, Palkia getting scared though.
Number 21, Bayleaf. Bayleaf was caught as a Chikorita, who was a stubborn Pokemon who only wanted to battle against the toughest Pokemon opponents. Chikorita's first gym battle came against Faulkner's Hoot Hoot, which was a really bad choice on Ash's part. And yes, Chikorita did end up losing to Hoot Hoot. Chikorita beat Bugsy's Spinarak in the second gym battle, but then lost to Bugsy's Metapod. Seriously? After evolved into Bayleaf, Bayleaf was extremely powerful against Chuck's Poliwrath and Machoke, using Body Slam, Vine Whip, and Razor Leaf to take them both out. Bayleaf was then used against Gary's Blastoise, and despite the type advantage, it was unable to win against the more experienced Blastoise. However, Bayleaf redeemed itself against Harrison's Houndoom, a Fire-type Pokemon. Bayleaf ultimately lost to Harrison's powerful Blaziken, though. Bayleaf was extremely strong in key matches, but there are certainly more powerful Pokemon that Ash has in his care.
Number 22, Gibble. I hate putting the first stage of my favorite pseudo-legendary this low, but what must be done must be done. It didn't get much battle experience, since it was caught towards the end. It helped a lot during the Lily of the Valley conference, but its best role by far has got to be the episode where it was learning, mastering Draco Meteor, and absolutely destroyed Dawn's Piplup.
Number 23, Torterra. As a Turtwig, it was a very fast and hard-hitting Pokemon. Turtwig's first major battle was against Rourke's Cranidos, which it won. It also beat Rourke's evolved Rampardos in the rematch. Throughout Ash's Sinnoh journey, Torterra has been used in 5 of Ash's gym battles. Turtwig was next used in the second gym battle against Gardenia and her Cherubi. After a long battle, Turtwig was recalled back, and later battled Gardenia's Turtwig. Between the two Turtwigs, it was a grueling fight, but Ash's Turtwig won the fight. But it lost to Gardenia's ace, Roserade. Granted, it did suffer through 2 tough battles prior to losing. Turtwig had a rough performance against Crasher Wake, the Water-type gym leader. Turtwig was completely unable to compete against his Quagsire. Turtwig was an excellent Pokemon, but got exponentially slower once it evolved into Grotle. Grotle had to change its style of battle into mostly defense. Grotle beat Candace's Sneasel, which Grotle is normally weak against. It was also used against Paul's Electabuzz and Honchkrow in a full 6-on-6 battle. Grotle lost very swiftly against the faster opponent. By its next major battle, Grotle had evolved into Torterra and was used against Volkner's Electivire. And despite being part ground, Torterra still lost. And Torterra was used last in the 6-on-6 battle against Paul at the Lily of the Valley conference and lost quite quickly to Paul's Drapion. Long story short, Torterra got worse the more it evolved, since it got slower.
Number 24, Heracross. It, without a doubt, is Ash's best bug type, but it didn't get enough screen time to be higher on this list. It helped out a lot during the Lily of the Valley conference during Tobias, but I don't get why it didn't get enough time to shine in its own home region, Johto. Overall, it's one of those cases where it's a strong Pokemon, but it didn't get enough screen time.
Number 25, Glalie. Now, Glalie is my personal favorite Pokemon, but we're not here to talk about why I like Glalie. We're here to talk about Ash's Glalie. Glalie was originally caught as a Snorunt quite late in the Advanced Generation series, so it didn't have a lot of screen time or a chance to shine. Snorunt was first used in a double battle with Pikachu against Juan Celio and Seaking. Snorunt ended up losing in the battle, though. And pretty soon after, Snorunt evolved into Glalie. Glalie was pretty clutch in the Evergrande Conference. Glalie first teamed up with Ash's Grovyle to battle a Quilava and Charizard, and both Pokemon had a massive type disadvantage. Grovyle beat the Quilava, but Charizard then beat Grovyle, and Glalie bounced around the icicles to beat Charizard. Ash then used Glalie against Katie. Glalie went up against her Dugtrio and took it out with an Ice Beam, but Glalie unfortunately lost to Katie's Mischievous due to Destiny Bond, so it was more like a tie. Glalie was then used against Morrison as his final Pokemon. Glalie avoided Morrison's Metang's Meteor Mash and won with a spinning headbutt. And Glalie's last major battle was against Tyson's Sceptile, which resulted in a draw. So it came pretty clutch in big moments, but since it was caught late, it wasn't used as often.
Number 26, Gutra. Okay, we all know a pseudo-legendary shouldn't be this low if it didn't get released. Not much else to say here, but its best performance is without a doubt when it beat Clement's Luxray with Bide. We all enjoyed when it came back, and it also performed well against Sawyer.
Number 27, Squirtle. Squirtle is certainly one of Ash's more powerful Pokemon, but the one thing holding it back is that it never evolved. Ash never evolved Squirtle or Bulbasaur, but Bulbasaur had no desire in evolving, and this was not the case with Squirtle. One could say that because Squirtle left Ash's team for training, it is possible that the shortened time caused this to happen. Despite not evolving, Squirtle was still a wonderful asset. It wasn't really used in gym battles in Kanto, and his record doesn't really help either. Squirtle lost to Blaine's Ninetales, a fire type, and to Giovanni's Machamp, who was commanded by Jesse from Team Rocket. The second one doesn't really count as a loss, since the battle was interrupted. In the Indigo Plateau Conference, Squirtle beat a Nidorino with Skull Bash. It ended up losing to Richie's Butterfree in the round of 16. One of Squirtle's most notable wins was against Rudy Starmie in the Orange Islands arc. It learned Hydro Pump to take the win. Squirtle also managed to defeat Drake's Onix with a Withdraw Hydro Pump combination. Squirtle was the only Pokemon before Pikachu to land a successful attack on Drake's Dragonite, which was a broken Pokemon with 10 moves. But Squirtle did end up losing. In Johto, Squirtle left to rejoin the Squirtle squad, but it came back to Ash for the Silver Conference. With its swiftness, Squirtle beat Macy's Electabuzz, which is an electric-type Pokemon. It also beat Macy's Quilava, which secured the victory for Ash. Squirtle returned yet again in the Kanto Battle Frontier to help Ash against Brandon's Ninjask, and with its agility and powerful attacks, it won the battle. Squirtle ended up losing to Brandon's Solrock, though. Overall, Squirtle was a very useful Pokemon who won many battles for Ash, but his lack of evolution didn't help Squirtle in the long run.
Number 28, Snivy. A surprisingly really good Pokemon for being a first stage, and it would regularly win against male Pokemon because of Attract and then Vineyard. Pretty BS, but pretty cool. They can't do that on female or genderless Pokemon, but it still performed decently well against some female and genderless Pokemon.
Number 29, Leavanny. Leavanny was one of very few in Ash's Unova team to fully evolve. Ash originally caught Leavanny as a Sewaddle. Sewaddle was first used in a major battle during Ash's battle against Berg and his Dwebble. Sewaddle was able to beat Dwebble, but then was forced to evolve into Swadloon to beat Berg's Whirlipede. Swadloon did end up losing to its evolved form, which was Leavanny. Swadloon was not used in another gym battle until after it evolved into Leavanny. Leavanny was used against Roxy, and Roxy's Coughing had already taken out Ash's Bulldor and Unfuzzant. And Leavanny, despite that, defeated Roxy's Coughing, but lost to her Scolipede. Leavanny was used in 2 more battles following that gym battle, against Maris's Carablast, which it won, and Stefan's Sock. And despite a height-speed fight, Sock defeated Leavanny. Leavanny was a relatively strong Pokemon, but severely underused.
Number 30, Noctowl. Ash's one and only shiny, but not bad. On its own, it has really good move, but a lot of Ash's other Pokemon either made more appearance or outclassed a Noctowl in raw power, but nothing could ever beat it in its rarity and looks.
Number 31, Quilava. Quilava was first used in a gym battle as a Cyndaquil against Bugsy's Spinarak and Scyther. Cyndaquil struggled with igniting its flames at first, which is why it struggled against Spinarak, but it ignited in time to beat Scyther. Cyndaquil beat Whitney's Clefairy and Nidorina easily, but lost to Whitney's infamous Miltank. And in the rematch against Whitney, Cyndaquil lost to Miltank yet again, but had weakened it enough for Pikachu to win. Cyndaquil was used yet again in Morty's Ghost-type gym, where it defeated Morty's Ghastly, but lost to his Haunter. Cyndaquil was used again against Jasmine's very powerful Steelix, and it won that battle as well. And Cyndaquil also defeated Price's Dugong, but easily lost to Price's Piloswine, which is interesting since Piloswine is part Ice. Cyndaquil was then used in the Silver Conference against Jackson, where it lost to his Magneton. It was then brought back for the Lily of the Valley Conference in the Sinnoh region, but it faced some trouble against Team Rocket, and in which it evolved into Quilava. Now keep in mind, it took 507 episodes for Cyndaquil to evolve into Quilava, which is literally a record. I mean, that's insane how long it took. Quilava was used against Nando's Armaldo after learning its eruption, and it also used Aerial Ace, but the two Pokemon tied. Cyndaquil was already a strong Pokemon and got even stronger when it evolved.
Number 32, Bulbasaur. Next up is a fan favorite, Bulbasaur. It made so many appearances, and it was really strong, beside the fact that it resisted evolving. It had many powerful Vine Whips and Blood Seeds. It helped a lot in the Indigo League and a lot of other leagues. Even some gym battles. Now imagine if it became an Ivysaur, or even a Venusaur. Yeah, probably wouldn't have been very broken.
Number 33, Buizel. Buizel was originally Dawn's Pokemon, but after much deliberation, Dawn decided to trade Buizel for Ash's Aipom, because Aipom was way more into contests, and Buizel was way more into battles. Buizel's first gym battle was against Maylene's Lucario, which ended up in a tie, but also ended the match in a tie, which is a first for anime history for a gym battle to end in a tie. Buizel was extremely vital against Crasher Wake, since it took out two of his Pokemon, Quagsire and its evolved form, Floatzel. Buizel was used again against Fantina's Gengar and Drifblim. Buizel defeated Gengar with a Water Gun counter shield that it just learned, but lost to Drifblim's Psychic. Buizel was used against Byron and his Steelix, but lost to an Iron Tail. It was also used against Paul in their first official battle. Buizel was initially brought out against Torterra first, but was later used against Magmortar and Ursaring. Paul recalled Magmortar, and Ursaring knocked out Buizel with a Focus Blast. Buizel was not used again until it battled Paul's Gastrodon, which it beat with an Ice Punch. However, it lost to Paul's Drapion. Buizel is a strong competitor with a lot of battle experience and is useful in big moments.
Number 34, Pignite. Pignite, an interesting one. It was thought to be an Umbreon in its debut episode, and it was revealed just to be hungry because its trainer abandoned it. Wait, this is too similar to Charmander. Anyways, it became stronger with Ash and eventually evolved a bit after the club's fusion, and it ends Pignite. It never ignited its true potential.
Number 35, Noivern. Since Ash found Noivern as an egg, and it was quite late in the Kalos series, it didn't get too much of a chance to participate in too many major battles. Its first battle was after Noibat had evolved into Noivern against Alon's Matang, but it lost. Noivern won its first official battle against Sawyer's Doublade, but lost to Sawyer's Clawitzer. Noivern was then used in the Lumiose Conference semifinal against Sawyer, where it took on his Salamence. The Dragon fight ended in a draw. Noivern was used against Alon's Ice-type Weavile, which also ended in a loss. Noivern wasn't used as often since it was a late addition, but it was able to go toe-to-toe with a Zapdos, which shows its strength and tenacity.
Number 36, Dracovish. I love this one. Another classic head biter. We haven't seen much from Dracovish, but we have high expectations. That's why it's so high on this list. Plus, that recent episode where it swam a lot and it battled a lot, that was pretty good.
Number 37, Melmetal. Caught as a Meltan, Melmetal is the first mythical Pokemon to be owned by a main character. Way to go, Ash! Meltan's first battle was a double battle with Rowlet against Ryuki's Zweilous and Druddigon. Meltan was slow at moving at first, but a combo attack won Meltan and Rowlet the match. Meltan's first major battle was against Fava's Hypno, even though it was drawn out by force. Regardless, Meltan still won the match by cleverly eating Hypno's coin thing. After it evolved into Melmetal, it was used against Gladion Silvally. It was an extremely powerful Pokemon when its attacks actually land. Silvally was much faster than Melmetal, giving it the edge. Melmetal lost the battle. Melmetal was used against Kukui's Empoleon and Incineroar. It easily defeated Empoleon, but lost to the very powerful Incineroar. If it was a faster Pokemon and had more battle experience, then it could be certainly higher on the list.
Number 38, Surfetch'd. This is a pretty good one. Surfetch'd lost to Rinto's Gallade and got killed by a false swipe. Which, for you people that don't play the games, that means that it leaves it on 1 HP or more, but it can't kill no matter what. That's gotta be the worst way to go down. But he recovered and trained with Withstrom, and then in rematch Rinto, Gallo activated his ability, Justified, but due to the fact that Farfetch'd landed many critical hits, it evolved, then it overpowered Gallade. Sweet, sweet revenge.
Number 39, Rowlet. Yes, I know, might be a bit controversial, seeing as Rowlet has never even evolved once, and I said earlier that Squirtle didn't evolve and that held it back. But Rowlet has had some clutch moments. And also keep in mind, Rowlet did catch an Everstone in his mouth, which also prevents it from evolution. Rowlet was used during the Melee Island Grand Trial against Hollis Brawler. Rowlet dodged a power-up punch and won with a tackle. However, Rowlet had a massive problem with falling asleep mid-battle, which certainly held it back. Rowlet was next used in the Akala Island Grand Trial, teaming up with Rockruff to battle against Olivia's Lycanroc and Probopass. Rowlet took out Probopass with Bloom Doom, the Grass-type Z-move, but actually lost to his own partner after Rockruff went ballistic. Rowlet wasn't really used in another major battle until the quarterfinals match against its rival, How's Decidueye. Despite being 2 stages lower than Decidueye, Rowlet perfected Feather Dance to avoid Spirit Shackle, and Rowlet won the match with a Brave Bird. Rowlet was lastly used against Kukui's Braviary and Venusaur. Rowlet won the aerial battle against Braviary, but was taken out by a Sludge Bomb and Vine Whip combo courtesy of Venusaur. Rowlet is overall a strong Pokemon, but its sleeping habits and it not being able to evolve to become stronger bring it down on the list.
Number 40, Naganadel. Ash's one and only Ultra Beast. A fan favorite too. It being a poison type, beating a steel type Lucario. First of all, hurts me, as Lucario is my favorite Pokemon. But it learned Thunderbolt for the sole reason of Pikachu inspiring it, and also the fact that it didn't battle as a Poipole, but it's still cute, just keeps protect.
Number 41, Hawlucha. Hawlucha is a very spirited Pokemon with the tenacity to keep fighting hard in every battle. Hawlucha's first major battle was against Karina's Mienfoo. At first, Hawlucha had trouble because Ash was using Tierno's rhythmic battle style, but once they course corrected, Hawlucha was able to defeat Mienfoo, only to be swiftly defeated by Mega Lucario. Hawlucha battled in a gym against Ramos's Weepinbell. Hawlucha was poisoned during the battle, which limited its fast movements, and despite its best efforts, Hawlucha ended up losing to Weepinbell. Hawlucha battled against Clement's Heliolisk for an all-star speed showdown. At first, it was all about Heliolisk, but a perfectly timed high jump kick and Ash's brilliant strategy took down Heliolisk. Hawlucha then lost to Clement's Luxray. Hawlucha was vital against Valerie and her Fairy-type Pokemon. Against Spritzee and Trick Room, Hawlucha struggled until it broke the Trick Room using multiple X-Scissors. Hawlucha ended up beating Spritzee despite the type disadvantage. It was then used against Wulfric and the Ice-type Pokemon. Wulfric used his Abomasnow, and Hawlucha ended up losing to Abomasnow. Its next major battle was against Acer's Mega Absol, and although the full battle wasn't really seen, Hawlucha did end up winning the battle and sending Ash to the semifinals. In the semifinals, against Sawyer, Hawlucha took on the slow Slacking. Because Slacking was not nearly as fast as Hawlucha, it threw Hawlucha off and was unable to battle like its normal self, causing Hawlucha to lose. Hawlucha redeemed himself against Elaine's Weavile, taking revenge for Ash's Noivern. Hawlucha ended up losing to Elan's Bisharp though. Hawlucha is a very strong Pokemon and very loyal as well. The others on the list just have way more wins and experience.
Number 42, Staraptor. Another strong one. As a Starly, it tried to learn Aerial Ace, but couldn't. But as soon as it evolved to Staravia, it mastered Aerial Ace and sent Team Rocket flying. After that, Staravia evolved again against Paul's Honchkrow in the... Is that the Squallville Pokeringer? What kind of name is that? Competition. In it learned close combat to win. And it got that Pokeringer medal, or whatever it was.
Number 43, Swellow. Now I've got to say, Swellow is one of Ash's best bird Pokemon. Swellow was first caught as a Tailo, and Tailo was first used in the gym battle against Brawly's Machop. Tailo was taken out in a single hit though, and it wasn't used in another gym battle until it had already evolved into Swellow. Swellow went up against Winona's Shiny Swellow, and Ash's Swellow ended up beating Winona's Swellow, winning the badge for Ash. Swellow teamed up with Pikachu against Tate and Liza's Lunatone and Solrock. After a very controversial move that I'm sure most of you know about, the Thunder Armor, Swellow won with Pikachu. Swellow was then used against Juan's Whiscash. It knocked out Whiscash, but lost to Juan's most powerful Pokemon, Milotic. Swellow made its Evergrande Conference debut against Katie's Venomoth. Swellow beat Venomoth and then took on her Scizor, and it also beat Scizor. So it took out two Pokemon before losing to Katie's ace, Walrein. Swellow was also used in the battle against Morrison's Gligar, and the Pokemon ended in a tie. Swellow was just as clutch against Tyson, as it took out both his Hariyama and his Donphan. In fact, it grabbed Donphan by the horns and threw it. That's insane power. Swellow finally lost to Tyson's Metagross, but it did make a crucial crack in Metagross. When Ash continued his journey to the Kanto Battle Frontier, Swellow was used against several of the Frontier Brains. Swellow first teamed up with Corphish against Tucker's Swampert and Arcanine. Due to the brilliant teamwork from the two Pokemon, they were able to take out both Swampert and Arcanine. Swellow then took on Spencer's Venusaur. Swellow took down Venusaur with an Aerial Ace, but lost to Spencer's Claydol. And Swellow's last major battle was during the Lily of the Valley Conference, when Ash brought it back to battle against Tobias' Latios in the semifinals. Swellow tried to compete with Latios' speed, but it wasn't strong enough and lost. And despite the ruthless loss, Swellow was extremely clutch during the Evergrande Conference and the Kanto Battle Frontier, showing its ability and power.
Number 44, Gengar, or as I like to call it, Gengar. One of Ash's strongest Pokemon, and surprisingly his first actual caught ghost type, as Haunter doesn't count. Conspiracy theory saying Haunter? I think not. It has a relatively wide choice of moves, and a lot of coverage moves, but it hasn't battled much recently, but hopefully we get to see more from it soon.
Number 45, Snorlax. Snorlax has proved itself to be one of Ash's most formidable Pokemon. Although it was caught during the Orange Islands arc, Ash didn't really use Snorlax in any of the major battles until his rematch against Claire in the Johto arc, due to his knack for falling asleep. Snorlax knocked out Claire's Kingdra, but lost to her Gyarados since it was already severely tired. Snorlax was brought back for the Silver Conference against Gary's Arcanine, Nidoqueen, and Scizor. Snorlax was extremely clutch during this fight, beating both Arcanine and Nidoqueen before falling to the very speedy Scizor. Snorlax also defeated Harrison's Hypno and Steelix before losing to his Houndoom. Snorlax was called back into action to help Ash during his Kanto Battle Frontier experience. In a battle against Greta, Ash's Snorlax beat both of Greta's Pokemon, Hariyama and Medicham, to give Ash the win. Now granted, Snorlax did have 6 moves, so you could call it broken, but anyways. Snorlax's last major battle was mostly off-screen against a female trainer's Grumpig in the Lily of the Valley Conference, which it won with a Body Slam. Snorlax is extremely powerful when motivated, but just like some of Ash's other Pokemon, it has a knack for falling asleep.
Number 46, Gliscor. Once again, another fan favorite. It was originally really wimpy, and then Ash befriended it, and after that Ash gave Gligar a Razor Fang while they were falling. And of course this was at night, just like the stealthy beast Gliscor is. Later, Gliscor went to train with McCann and Air Battle Master. It came back for the Lily of the Valley Conference in the end and made some really clutch booty kicking.
Number 47, Dragonite. Now I realize that this is a strange choice, but despite Pokemon Journeys not being completed yet, there's already enough evidence to point to why Dragonite is so high on the list. The part that makes this team different from Ash's past teams is that they face off against world-class trainers from multiple regions. Dragonite has thus far only participated in 2 World Coronation matches and is undefeated in both. Dragonite defeated Karina's Mienshao and her Mega Lucario, which elevated Ash to the Great class. Dragonite then took on Iris's Dragonite and Haxorus. At this point, Iris had become the Unova champion. Ash's Dragonite was unable to compete with Iris's Dragonite, so it was recalled to fight Iris's Haxorus. After learning Draco Meteor, Dragonite won the battle for Ash and elevated Ash to the Ultra class. Dragonite is extremely loyal to Ash in the short time that we have seen it, and it has a mass amount of potential. Dragonite could move up higher in the list based on what we see in the remainder of the show.
Number 48, Talonflame. When Ash first caught it as a fletchling, it really wasn't that strong. It kept battling and training. For example, it lost to Viola the first time, and then after that, it trained with Alexis Noivern, had better wind resistance and better attacking power. With the help of Pikachu, it beat Viola. After that, it battled against Moria, a Sky Trainer, and her Talonflame. It pushed through the Fire Blast and evolved into Fletchinder with 3 flame charges in a row. After that, Fletchinder Fletchinder, Ash, and the gang went up a mountain because Trevor said there was a legend of a Moltres living in a volcano. So when they found it, it attacked Fletchinder and Ash. Ash fell into the volcano. Fletchinder saved it, evolved into Talonflame, and beat that Moltres. After that, it helped a lot in the Kalos League, especially against Sawyer and Delon.
Number 49, Crocodile. Crocodile is one Pokemon that Ash has in Unova that actually had a relatively strong record. Ash first met Crocodile as a Sunglasses Sandile, who made a rivalry with Ash's Pikachu. Ash didn't catch the Sandile until after it evolved into a Krokorok. As a Krokorok, it was used against Skyla's Swoobat, but it lost. Its next gym battle was against Bryson and his Vanillish. Krokorok was recalled and fought against Bryson's Beartic. Krokorok ended up winning the battle for Ash. Krokorok evolved into Crocodile against Iris's Dragonite and won that match as well. And Crocodile was extremely important against Stefan in the third round of the Virtuous Conference. Crocodile beat Stefan's Liepard and Sawk to give Ash the win. Crocodile is a very strong Pokemon, but the remaining entries on this list have had more clutch moments and way more experience.
Number 50 is Lycanroc. Here we go. It's a super duper special Dusk form Lycanroc this time. As a Rockruff, you stay with Kukui and trained on Clammark Hill, and it tried to learn Rockruff, but it failed until Ash stepped in. And then after that, on the Akala arc, it evolved via the Green Flash and became the special Dusk form Lycanroc. It helped within the Ula Ula Island trial, as it failed the first time, and then it trained with Tapu Bulu to overcome its fear of dirtiness, and after that, plowed through Nanu's team. Later, it helped in the Alola League.
Number 51, Sceptile. Sceptile was first caught as a Trico. It battled in its first gym battle against Roxanne's Geodude, but was easily defeated. Trico was then used against Brawly and his Machop, but it was still defeated by Hariyama, which ended up losing the match for Ash. Trico got its revenge against Brawly's Hariyama and won the badge for Ash. Ash then used Trico against Flannery's Slugma. Trico got burned during the battle, so he got recalled and came out against her Torkoal. Trico ended up losing to Flannery's Torkoal, because unlike Ash's Torkoal, Flannery's Torkoal is actually strong. By its next gym battle, Trico had evolved into a Grovyle. Grovyle fought against Norman's Slacking, and both trainers were using their final Pokemon. After a back and forth affair, Grovyle defeated Slacking, winning Ash the badge. Grovyle was then used against Winona's Altaria and Swellow. Grovyle defeated Altaria, but lost to Swellow. Grovyle was used again against Juan's Love Disc, but Grovyle lost to Love Disc too. Grovyle was used several times during the Evergrande Conference. It first battled with Glalie against a Quilava and Charizard. Grovyle beat Quilava and may have lost doing so, but lost to Charizard, which is understandable considering the type disadvantage. Grovyle was used as Ash's last Pokemon. against Katie's last Pokemon, Walrein. Grovyle eventually defeated Walrein, sending Ash to the next round. Grovyle was used against Morrison's Steelix and Gligar. It beat Steelix but lost to Gligar. Grovyle was then used against Tyson's Metagross, and although it was able to severely damage Metagross, it still lost the battle. Grovyle was next used against Greta's Hariyama during the Kanto Battle Frontier, but it lost that battle as well. Grovyle soon evolved into Sceptile and really got a lot stronger. It was first used against Spencer and Spencer's Shiftry and Claydol. Sceptile beat Shiftry and Claydol, winning the Spirit symbol for Ash. Sceptile then returned for the Lily of the Valley Conference to help Ash against Tobias' Darkrai. Sceptile became the only Pokemon to defeat Darkrai at the Lily of the Valley Conference. Tobias' Latios then took out Sceptile in one shot with a Giga Impact. Sceptile sure has had lots of ups and downs, but Sceptile grew way more powerful once it evolved fully into a Sceptile. The other Pokemon on the list just have way more consistency.
Number 52, Incineroar. It never actually battled as Incineroar, but as Litten, it faced the Masked Royals Incineroar, then evolved into a Torracat, and learned to Flame Charge in the process. Then after that, it faced it again, and it finished the Incineroar off with the gargantuan clash of Inferno Overdrives. Right after that, it evolved into Incineroar, but it fainted immediately.
Number 53, Infernape. The tale of Ash's Infernape is an interesting one. As a Chimchar, it used to belong to Ash's Sinnoh main rival Paul. Paul is a ruthless trainer who always mistreated Chimchar. Eventually, Chimchar joined Ash's team. The main part that adds to Infernape being listed so high on the list is his story and journey across the Gen 4 anime. Chimchar was used against Maylene's Meditite and Lucario. Chimchar wasn't really able to do much in this battle, as it got confused by Meditite and was recalled and battled Lucario later, but it was defeated despite its best efforts. Chimchar's next battle was against Fantina's Mismagius. With the help of a counter shield, Chimchar was able to defeat Mismagius. It was recalled and then brought back out to battle Fantina's Drifblim. Chimchar defeated Drifblim, winning the badge for Ash. Chimchar was then used against Byron and his Bronzor. Chimchar was able to defeat Bronzor despite Bronzor's ability of Heat Proof. Chimchar also battled Steelix after Buizel lost. Chimchar managed to take out Steelix but lost to Byron's ace, Bastiodon. Chimchar was then used against Candace's Snover, who it defeated. Chimchar was recalled during its battle with Abomasnow. It came out later in the battle to battle with Abomasnow again. After a long fight, Chimchar ended up being victorious, winning yet another badge for Ash. Ash used Chimchar in his full battle against Paul at Lake Acuity. Chimchar quickly defeated Paul's Ursaring, and then it evolved into Monferno, but lost to Paul's ace Electabuzz, and losing the match for Ash. Before its next gym battle, Monferno had evolved into Infernape. Infernape was used in Ash's gym battle against Volkner. Infernape defeated Volkner's Jolteon, and then was recalled, and then was sent out against Volkner's Luxray. Infernape struggled with controlling his Blaze ability, as it often went berserk, but during this battle, Infernape learned to control its power and defeated Luxray, winning Ash another badge. Just goes to show how clutch Infernape was during gym battles. Infernape was used in Ash's quarterfinal match against Paul at the Lily of the Valley Conference. Infernape battled Paul's Aggron first and swiftly defeated it with a Flare Blitz and Mach Punch combo. Infernape came back into the battle to take on Paul's Ninjask. Despite Ninjask's speed, Infernape was able to persevere and take out Ninjask. It was also extremely instrumental in neutralizing Paul's Drapions toxic spikes that had affected 5 of Ash's Pokemon during that battle, including itself. Infernape finally faced off against Paul's Electivire, its ultimate rival. After a grueling match where it was forced to activate Blaze, Infernape ended up winning the match for Ash with a very powerful Flare Blitz. With this victory, Ash advanced to the semifinals of the Lily of the Valley Conference. Infernape was extremely clutch for Ash, losing only twice at gym battles, once against Maylene's Lucario and Byron's Bastiodon, but both of those were as a Chimchar. Ash relied on Infernape heavily and it paid off. In addition, Infernape was able to exact its revenge on Paul for the horrible treatment. Its overall growth with Ash are the exact reason for why it's so strong and one of Ash's ultimate powerhouses.
Number 54, Lucario. Okay, I'm gonna try not to be biased, but this is my favorite entry on the list. This is my favorite Pokemon. Ash got it as an egg, and it hatched the same episode. It got inspired by Karina's Lucario. It lost to B, tied with B, and it might beat B in the future. It evolved during the darkest day, learned Aura Sphere, and it helped finish off Eternatus. In an upcoming episode, episode 83, it could have a chance to be able to Mega Evolve. Stay tuned for that one.
Number 55, Charizard. Solid fan favorite, everyone loves Charizard. And similar to Infernape and Pignite's storylines, Ash's Charizard originally belonged to a jerkwad of a trainer, Damien, as a Charmander. Charmander made his gym battle debut against Erica's Weepinbell. With its very clear advantage, Charmander beat Weepinbell, but lost to her Gloom. Charmander was used then against Koga's Golbat and won, winning Ash the badge. However, as a Charmeleon and Charizard, as most of you know, it was incredibly disobedient towards Ash. Ash didn't use Charizard again until the gym battle against Blaine, but Ash was disqualified the first time since Charizard simply refused to battle. During a retry, Ash beat Blaine with Charizard's help against Blaine's Magmar. Charizard continued its disobedience into the Indigo Plateau Conference, costing the match against Richie for Ash simply because it was too bored to battle. During the Orange Islands arc, Charizard accidentally helped Ash against Danny and won him the round. The most crucial battle in the journey of Charizard was against Tad's Poliwrath, which ended in Charizard's first official loss. Charizard was also frozen as a result, but Ash stayed up all night, just like the great trainer that he is, to warm up Charizard. This selfless act of Ash reverted Charizard back to its old self. It also got its revenge on Poliwrath. Charizard partnered with Pikachu against Luana's Alakazam and Marowak. They both won the battle. Charizard was then used against Drake's Electabuzz and Dragonite. He beat Electabuzz, but lost to the almighty powerful Dragonite. Ash brought Charizard into Johto, and Charizard was extremely OP. Charizard was used in Ash's first Johto gym battle against Falkner's Pidgeot, and after some aerial strategies, Charizard defeated Pidgeot and won Ash the badge. But soon after, Charizard was left at the Charcivic Valley to undergo extreme training, thus leaving Ash's team. Ash brought Charizard back to battle against Claire's Dragonair in his rematch. Although it was able to wear down Dragonair's defenses, it lost anyways. Charizard returned again to battle Gary's Scizor, Golem, and Blastoise, and it was so clutch during this battle. Charizard was put in a very tough situation because Charizard was Ash's last Pokemon, but Gary still had the 3 listed that I just said. It was able to take out Scizor with a single flamethrower. It then beat Golem with a Seismic Toss and Dragon Rage combo. With a unique strategy, Charizard was able to defeat Blastoise as well, allowing Ash to advance to the quarterfinals. Charizard battled Harrison's Blaziken in the quarterfinals match, but despite a close match, Charizard lost. It then returned once again during Ash's Kanto Battle Frontier journey, where it battled Nolan's Articuno in one of the closest battles in history. In fact, both Pokemon collapsed, but Charizard got up first, giving Ash the victory. Along with Pikachu, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle, Charizard participated in the 4v4 battle against Brandon. However, Charizard actually didn't perform as well as expected, as it lost to Brandon's Dusclops and was the first one of Ash's Pokemon to lose. Charizard was brought back in Ash's journey as well, but didn't really participate in any major battles except against Team Plasma. Charizard showed just how much it had learned and its overall improvement. It is one of Ash's greatest Pokemon, and its overall journey is a part of that. However, it's still not the greatest of his Pokemon.
Number 56, Pikachu. It's the one, the only, Pikachu. We all love him, but where do we even start? Ash first got Pikachu from Professor Oak in Pallet Town because all the other starters were already taken, and he didn't obey Ash first, but when Ash saved it from a flock of Spearow, the Pikachu gained his trust. It lost the Surge of Raichu, but it didn't want to evolve to prove it could be a good Pokemon without needing to evolve. Then it lost a lot of battles in leagues, but also won a lot too. It defeated Pete Pebbleman, Jeanette Fisher's. Oh, it lost Pete Pebbleman's Arcanine and lost to Jeanette Fisher's Bellsprout. Even after being worn out from battling Team Rocket, it still battled against Richie's Butterfree, but fell to Richie's Charmander. It battled Drake's Ditto and won. It got recalled to take a break, and beat the overpowered Dragonite that was about to sweep Ash, as Pikachu was his last Pokemon. It beat Salvador's Fur, Jackson Suzumer, and Shiny Magneton. Wasn't expecting that. All in the Silver Conference. It beat Harrison's Kecleon, but it fell to Sneasel as it has quick reflexes and large sums of speed. In the Evergreen Conference, Pikachu beat Gilbert's Hitmonlee, and it would have beaten KB's Golduck, but it immediately switched out as it had a type advantage, and the Dugtrio absolutely crushed Pikachu. It lost to Mortison's Steelix, but it beat Tyson's Metagross, but it fell to Tyson's Meow. Not great for the record. 2 wins and 3 losses. Against Paul in the Lily of the Valley Conference, it beat Frostlass, but after a tough fight, it fell to Electivirus. It tied to Tobias's Latios. But in the Virtuous Conference, Trip originally had a good strategy to ground the electricity with his tail. But Ash overcame it and used Iron Tail to conduct the electricity from Electro Ball and beat Trip's Superior. Ash beat Cameron's Samurott and Swanna. It got recalled as to take a break. When it came back in, it was facing the newly evolved Lucario. It lost in a tough clash of Aura Sphere and Electro Ball. That's a good one for Lucario. In the Lumiose Conference, Pikachu was sent out against Clawitzer, and it defeated Clawitzer. Here comes Aegislash. The alternated between Sword and Shield really stumped Ash, but he overcame it by jamming it with a Woodchuck. It defeated Elaine's Tyranitar, then it faced his Metagross and beat it. Then it faced Charizard but fell to it as it was the really powerful Charizard. It faced Guzma's Golisopod after Torracat was defeated. It faced Gladion Silvally, which had already been deeply injured by Metal. It went against Gladion's Lycanroc. It's a midnight form. And it used Night Daze. I knew at that moment it was the Zoroark, as it's its signature move. When Zoroark took damage, it was revealed. He used Never-Ending Nightmare, and Pikachu reciprocated with Breakneck Blitz. Pikachu won the battle in a tie. Well, not won, but he tied it. It against Kukui, it battled Empoleon, but was recalled as it started to get dizzy from Whirlpool. Then it battled Tapu Koko, which was replaced as Kukui's sixth Pokemon. It beat a Nihilego Lusamine hybrid with 1,000,000-fold Thunderbolt. Then did the same again with Jesse's Mimikyu, and the same as Professor Kukui's Tapu Koko. As I was saying, as I was talking about before, who was using Guardian of Alola, and it still won against a legendary using its signature Z move. He also just casually became the champion of Alola. And to top it all off, it's been a Gigantamax Pikachu this entire time, and we didn't even know it. Yup, that's Ash's Pikachu in a nutshell.
Number 57, Greninja. Ah, yes. I'm sure many of you expected this to be our choice for Ash's strongest Pokemon of all time. And can you really blame us? Even as a Froakie, it knew that Ash was the perfect fit to be its trainer. Froakie had abandoned so many trainers prior to Ash. Froakie was not used in a single gym battle though, until after it evolved the first time into a Frogadier. Frogadier was used against Ramos's Weepinbell and Go-Goat. Frogadier defeated Weepinbell with an Aerial Ace and then defeated Go-Goat with a Water Pulse, winning Ash the badge. Frogadier was then used against Olympia, and it was partnered with Talonflame. At first, the two partners struggled to keep up with the power and timing of her two Meowstic. Eventually, both Pokemon managed to win the battle, winning the badge for Ash. Soon after, Frogadier evolved into Greninja and showed its elusive new form, later dubbed as Ash Greninja. Ash Greninja went toe-to-toe with Diantha and her Mega Gardevoir. By the way, Diantha is the Kalos champion. But lost after both Ash Greninja and Ash passed out. Greninja suffered a massive blow to its confidence during the gym battle against Wulfric. Wulfric's Avalugg defeated Greninja despite it being able to transform to Ash Greninja. During the rematch, Greninja was used again against Wulfric's Mega Abomasnow. Since it had now mastered its new form, Greninja was even stronger now and won, winning Ash his 8th badge. Ash used Greninja in the first round of the Lumiose Conference against Titus's Altaria. Greninja's changed form and swept through Titus's entire team. And keep in mind, this is a 3-on-3 battle. Greninja was next used as Ash's last Pokemon against Sawyer in the semifinals. It fought against Sawyer's Sceptile. And despite the type disadvantage, it had way more battle experience and confidence going into the battle. Greninja won with his signature Water Shuriken attack. Greninja was then used against Alon's Bisharp and Charizard in the final match. Greninja easily defeated Bisharp, also with an assist from Gudra's latent Rain Dance, but had a real challenge against Mega Charizard. Mega Charizard knew Thunder Punch, which helped against a water type like Greninja. Even with the power of a giant and golden Water Shuriken, Ash Greninja still lost. What makes Ash Greninja truly Ash's strongest Pokemon is that it wasn't even destined to stay with Ash. It's such a strong Pokemon that it needed to help the Kalos region. It made that choice. And as much of a shame it is that Ash couldn't keep such a strong Pokemon, it was a great story to follow between trainer and Pokemon. The performances and the story all explain why Greninja is Ash's strongest Pokemon of all time thus far. Thanks for listening.
We hope you enjoyed.
We will see you next time.
See ya!